you were a guy that got thrown into the fire at a young age, and Coach 2J kind of worked to get you ready as opposed to maybe building you up a little more slowly. How different is the approach now with the young guys because you have veterans in the starting lineup?
That's a good question. They have a lot more trial and error now. They don't have to just be thrown in, and they can build up to that, the one-on-ones and the team reps where they have guys where they can see how it's done first, and then take on, learn from us, and then apply it to smaller drills, and then from smaller drills it goes to walkthroughs, and then finally they can apply that to team.
When you think about your course and your development, and obviously we know that the story ends well, but do you think it would have been better for you to be brought along slowly, or was there an advantage to being kind of just chucked into it?
I think there's benefits and cons to both sides. Definitely, I learned at a quicker pace being, just thrown in the fire like that. I had to adapt quick, but at the same time, I wasn't able to, I guess, develop in certain ways that I kind of wish I did. Mainly weight. I think for the first game I was like 265, maybe even less than that. And it's funny because, I wasn't expecting to play. I was a freshman. We had a veteran group, and so on those trips I was eating. I was eating a lot, and the first scare came with Pitt when coach was like, "All right, get ready," and I was like, "Oh man, I'm cold," and I definitely ate a little bit more than I should have that day.
Do you remember what you ate?
Yeah, I do. I had 2 full steaks, mashed potatoes, some greens, and we had some dessert, but I'm gonna keep that disclosed.
You didn't chuck it back up, did you?
No, I didn't end up going in that day, which was good at the time.
Awesome. Thank you.
Of course.
Hey Chris, how much do you think it feels like? I know you guys have a lot of guys back on the offensive line this year, but how much do you think it feels like you guys still have something to prove going into this season?
I think a lot. It's kind of with anything. When you win once, you want to make sure that it's not a fluke, and we say that a lot with the O-line. You do well one time, but you always got to prove it to make sure that it's it's not just a one-time fluke, and you want to be that consistent team and that consistent group on the team that allows your offense to win and succeed. And we still have to prove ourselves to make sure that last year was not a fluke.
Was it a tough decision for you what was that process like for you to come back, and how did that thought process go, the decision-making process?
So I don't think a lot of people know this, but I had surgery this offseason. So I had to get surgery right after the Tech game, and I played the whole year last year on a torn labrum in my hip. And so I guess, I wish I didn't have to do that, but, just playing through that torn hip, I wish I didn't have it at all, but, played through it and then got the surgery right after, and then I came back within the spring. So I guess the decision wasn't as hard because I had to get it regardless, but going through that process was hard, but it was a lot easier than the first time, so, yeah.
And what is it like for you guys that kind of, offensive line usually fly under the radar for a lot of people, and there's been a lot of talk about the experience bring back, the talent, what that's going to mean to the whole offense. Like, how do you guys handle more people talking about you and paying attention to the offensive line?
It's a little different. As offensive lineman, you don't have the limelight, nor should I think you shouldn't expect it. Our job is just, to go out there, protect those skill players, make them look good. So when that stuff does come up, it's more of a just leave it behind you. You hear it, but you don't take it in, because at the end of the day, we still have to do our job. And whether they say we're good or not, we have to uphold that standard that we had last year.
And last one for me, sorry. What is it like playing for 2J? Like, what makes him such a great coach to play for?
He's energetic. There's never a downtime, and if there's like a lull within the group, he makes sure that it's picked up very quickly. And, that rubs off on a lot of guys. Bobby Haskins, big energy guy. Olu is starting to get a little more feisty now, and, being loud, Swoboda, all those guys, and it's fun because it brings the group alive, and it's just fun to play with a coach like 2J and play for him and play with a bunch of guys on the line that are just as energetic as him.
Chris, what was it like to play with a torn hip last year, and I guess when did you get back to 100%?
So the torn hip was, I found out right before the season, and it was more of a struggle just because I knew that I'd eventually have to go get the surgery. So it wasn't terrible. The road, whoa, sorry. The road back, okay. Yeah, so the hardest part about it was knowing that at the end of the season, I'd eventually have to get the surgery, that it was a date that was coming. But just trying to put it behind me, not think about it, take the proper medication, rehab during the season to keep it at bay as long as possible. And then the recovery, the first surgery I had, it took about 5 months, and the recovery time is normally 6. And then this time, it took about 4.5 months. So I came back 4 practices before the spring game. So I just sped it up this time because I already gone through it and I knew what I had to do.
We've got time for one more question, please.
Kind of following up from Caroline's earlier question about playing for Coach 2J, Coach Beck said he has the woo factor when it comes to recruiting. Do you remember what was it about this woo factor that got you so interested in playing Virginia and being recruited by Coach 2J? What is this woo factor?
Yeah, the woo factor is his energy and his volume and his voice. When I was taken out of class, I still remember to this day, he was with my head coach, Coach McQuaid in Ohio, and they're in a study hall where, it's a big study hall. Kids are trying to do their job. If anybody speaks, you get in trouble. And as soon as I walked in, all I just hear is a big yelp and like a "that's my guy" type deal. And, it got the study hall awake if anybody was sleeping. And he's loud and very energetic, as I've said before, and it's fun. And that's definitely the woo factor.